Hello everyone, I'm Andy from the Pixel Pub and I'm here to talk about my top 10 games. 1997. Okay, 1997 was a very pivotal year for me in my journey to being a gigantic nerd, I guess. A ton of good games came out that year. I basically started devouring pro wrestling as much as I could. A lot of crazy things happened in pro wrestling. If you know, you know. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about games. 1997 was the year I got my PlayStation. I got it for Christmas that year. And yeah, this is going to be the first list of these since I've been doing since 1988. And we don't have any NES games. We don't have any Super Nintendo games. We don't have any Sega Genesis games. It's all 32-bit, 64-bit stuff that we got to talk about here today. Also, some of these games I don't have anymore. I did rent back in the day, but I just haven't put back into the collection officially. But I do hope to get them someday. But anyway, for those of y'all who don't know, I do these lists basically all console games. There are some handhelds here and there, but from here on, you're not going to be a lot of handheld games because I had a Game Boy and I didn't get another handheld to the DS. So several years later, I will probably throw some stuff in there that I played since then, but not when they were going concern. Also, I don't really have a lot of no PC games because I didn't really play a lot of PC stuff. And I'm looking for North American releases because that's when I would be able to play it. So anyway, let's start with number 10. Okay, number 10 is an odd one, and I rented it a lot back in the day, and I like it. I've forgotten a lot about how to play it, but I remember really liking it a lot at the time. It is Tetrisphere. It's a weird little puzzle game on the N64 with the Tetris license. You're basically playing, not Tetris, but you're playing a kind of form of it on a big sphere, and there's multiple different modes of play. Usually the ones I go for is the rescue mode, where you have like a little dude like this on the cover here, and he's trapped inside this sphere, and you have to clear enough of the sphere to get him to release like a big enough hole in the sphere to get him to come out. I don't know, I thought it was a super neat idea at the time. It might not hold up that well. If you play it today, you're like, what the hell is this? But I just remember really liking it. I remember liking the music, and I remember thinking it looked incredible. Like just that big sphere on the screen on your little CRT. It's just like, whoa. This is games, man. They're doing stuff. But yeah, that's number 10. That's Tetrisphere. Okay, number 9 is a game that I do not have physically, but I have been playing a little bit of it on Nintendo Switch Online, the N64 thing. And it's Blast Corps, which is a game made by Rare in 1997. Rare was on fire on the N64 generation. They were putting out game after game, multiple per year. They knew what they were doing with that system, and they put out some bangers that still hold up to this day. It's not the only Rare game on this list. It's just the lowest one. But Blast Corps is basically a game where you have all these different demolition devices. Some of them real, some of them like big robots. I remember the robot that could fly around and do a big like butt stomp to the ground was my favorite. But you're like guiding this like big nuclear missile through these different levels, and you have to destroy all the buildings to get so the nuclear missile can just go through them. I don't know why it couldn't turn, just get on a road. But you have to destroy these buildings so this thing can keep moving. I'm sure there's some deep lore in the instruction manual or something, but not something I really I dug into because I rented it. But it is available on Nintendo Switch Online. I was playing that to capture the footage for this particular video, and I had a hard time stopping. I was like, man, this is great. And like just unlocking all the little vehicles is fun. You got the race car, you got the little motorcycle that's got the missile launchers and stuff like that. You got the robot with the big old arm that can just swing and hit things. You got the bulldozer and the dump truck that could swing its butt out and destroy stuff. Ton of fun. What a novel idea at the time. Yeah, number 9, Blast Corps. Okay, number 7 is a game that I did have growing up. I had it in my collection. I actually got it for Christmas that year, 1997. It is Crash Bandicoot 2. I have here the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy on the PS4, which does have Crash Bandicoot 2 on it, and this game kind of blew my mind at the time. Like, I had played a lot of 3D games on the N64, obviously, and I think I had played like Crash Bandicoot, the first one, on like demo kiosks and stuff in stores, but I'd never actually sit down and like actually played one. And obviously the Crash Bandicoot games were a lot more limited than like a Super Mario 64 where you can kind of run around 360-degree motion and the level's kind of more open. Crash Bandicoot levels are more like you're running down a path, straightforward. And sometimes there'll be a little side-scrolling section. For the most part, you're heading towards the front of the screen. But Naughty Dog, even back then and now especially, they knew their craft and knew how to make a damn good-looking game on any console that they made it on. And I just remember thinking, man, this looks better than the N64 stuff that I'm seeing. Like, even like the opening cutscene with like Neo Cortex like falling to the ground, you see the little island that he lands on. It's like they're swinging for the fence to try to make that island look so detailed and so cool from a distance on a PS1. And like, just like the facial expressions that Crash makes and Neo Cortex makes, and when you're got the big hologram that he talks you to every so often in between levels, and Crash does the crotch chop, which was a big deal. I mean, man, that was watching wrestling, and Crash was doing it, and I was like, yeah, man, this is the cool hip thing, even though it really wasn't. But it was a fun little platformer. It is my favorite of the original 3. I haven't really played any other ones, but out beyond 3. But yeah, Crash Bandicoot 2. That's number 8. Okay, number 7. Remember when I said that Blast Corps wouldn't be the last rare game on the list? It is not. Number 7 is Diddy Kong Racing on the N64. I believe this is my original copy that I had as a kid in 1997. And this game was very unique for its time because it was a kart racer like Mario Kart, which there had only been 2 at that point. But this game said, okay, let's take it and make it so we have different vehicles. You have a hovercraft, you have a plane, you have a car. And even beyond all that, what if we have an adventure mode where you're racing around this island and you're unlocking the races and stuff like that, and there's little side stuff that you can find. There are characters you can unlock. And you have racing boss battles and stuff like that that were like hard. I remember I was like, man, this is rough. And you think you've beaten the game, and there's this whole other cup that's in space, and it's like, it's crazy, and WizPig, and it's a wild time. What a fun game. I know they made the DS version. I really want to play that. I know Sailor Nugget picked it up a few months ago on one of our trips, and I was like, man, I'm jealous. I want to play that on the DS. I wonder if it's like the same tracks and everything. I don't know. It probably is. But it also had one of my favorite things that you see in games of this time, especially rare games. It had like holiday themed levels. Like there was a whole little Christmas town you race through, and that's a fun little thing you could throw on the N64 around the holidays to get the fuzzy feels. Yeah. So yeah. Number 7, Diddy Kong Racing. Okay, continuing on, the rare N64 train. And this one might be controversial. I don't know. Number 6 is GoldenEye 007. I actually didn't own this game growing up. This specific copy, actually, a buddy of mine found at his last job in a trash can. And he's like, hey, do you want this? I was like, absolutely. You know, I had a game room. I was building the collection. And we got it, cleaned it up, and it works just fine. So, yeah. This game, my friend down the street had. And we used to play multiplayer a lot, and every so often he'd have a big sleepover with more people coming over, and we played 4-player. And, you know, have a good time. People pick Odd Job and yell, like, that's cheating and stuff like that. But this one, for me, he let me borrow it a couple of times, and I really latched on to, like, the music and, like, the feel of shooting people was really, it felt really good at the time. And, like I said, the music's really good. You could find, like, the uncompressed versions out there that someone, I guess, leaked or whatever. Like, you'd find that music from, like, the Frigate stage and the Dam stage, and it sounds crystal clear. It's not coming out of N64, and it sounds amazing. This is low on the list because I didn't have it. It was kind of just a multiplayer thing I played with some friends, and I liked Perfect Dark better. And that's the one I did own. So that's for the year 2000. This is 1997. GoldenEye's on the list because it's still, it was great at the time. Not sure if it holds up today. I was playing some for this footage. I was like, man, these controls are weird. But yeah, GoldenEye 007 is number 6. Okay, number 5, we're getting into some Nintendo-developed game territory here. It is Star Fox 64. And I have a couple of stories about this game. My same friend who had GoldenEye down the road, he had a Nintendo Power subscription before I did. And back then, if you had a Nintendo Power subscription, every so often they'd send you a VHS of like, here's an upcoming game or a couple of games. And it'd be like 20 minutes long or something like that, like very short for a VHS. And it was very corny, like it was like, oh man, check out this red stuff. And very 90s. It was honestly kind of cringeworthy, but very nostalgic now when I see that stuff on YouTube. I remember they had a one that came out for Donkey Kong Country, and they had one for this. I believe they had one for this because I had this memory of us watching it, and he was super excited for it, and I was like, man, I don't know, because I in my mind, I was really excited for Zelda 64. It wasn't Ocarina of the Time yet. It was still just Zelda 64, and I was like, man, I'm thinking I'm more on this this fantasy setting train. I want to play the fantasy games. I'm not interested in space games. Like, I just don't want to do that right now. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I really had no way to defend myself. I was just like, I don't know. I'm not interested. Anyway, flash forward to when around this game was supposed to come out. My parents, it's over the summer. We used to, over the summer, we used to rent a cottage down by the beach in North Carolina and go down there for a week. Sometimes my brother and his girlfriend at the time would go get a separate cottage, and we would, hang out at the beach, go out to dinner, stuff like that. And this year, 1997, my parents told me one afternoon, they're like, hey, we need to talk about something. I'm like, this never happens. Like, this is not what my family does. Like, we need to talk. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And they're like, so here's the deal. We can either go to the beach like we normally do every year, or we can buy you a game right now. And I was like, I want the game. Not really thinking I probably just saved them thousands of dollars. Like, this game was $70 or something like that, versus a week-long, cottage on the beach. It was probably saving them a whole lot of money. So anyway, I didn't really have anything on my mind at the time that I wanted. I just decided, hey, I'm going to pre-order Starfight 64. And it came with the Rumble Pack and everything like that. And I remember we went to Electronics Boutique. It's for the days of EB Games and GameStop. It was Electronics Boutique, and it was a couple towns over. And we pre-ordered it. The day came like a couple weeks later, I'm not sure. And picked it up. Actually was able to get a Nintendo Power subscription right then and there for like $1. And with the Nintendo Power subscription came the soundtrack on CD for Super Mario 64. I thought was awesome. It had like 40 tracks on it. I never seen that many tracks on a CD, but a lot of them were just like the coin sound, or here's the sound the toad makes when you talk to him. They're like 3-second things, but it did have the entire soundtrack. On the way home, got a big, 10 nugget chicken nugget meal at McDonald's, and I sat down and played it. And my mom went to check on me, and she was like, "You're like a pig in shit, aren't you?" And I was like, had McDonald's and I was playing my new game and stuff like that. And man, soon as I think right after she left that room, I beat this game because it's very short, and it's not that hard. And I was kind of dismayed at the time. I was like, well, that's weird. But the cool thing about this game and why it's so cool is that there are so many different branching paths you can take, and then there's different objectives that you can meet during the levels to unlock those paths and like figure out what they are. It's meant to be replayed, so I got a lot of fun out of this game in the years to come. It's just great time. And my friend, who I said I didn't want any space stuff anymore, he rightfully made fun of me for getting this game. It's like, what were you talking about? I was like, I don't know. Number 5, Starfight 64. Okay, number 4, another Nintendo developed game, Mario Kart 64. Now, I was gushing over, Diddy Kong Racing and how it changed the game for racers a little bit. Why is Mario Kart 64 higher? Because I played this way more. I played the snot out of this game, and a lot of people like to hate on Mario Kart 64 these days, and I get where they're coming from. But for me, at the time, I loved this game. And I do have a bit of a story of this game, too. Christmas of 1996, me and my brother both got N64s at the same time. My brother's much older than me. He'd already moved out the house and stuff like that. But we both got N64s from my parents, and this came out in March of 1997. And my brother's birthday is in March, and he was going to get it for his birthday. And I threw a fit. I was like, no, I want Mario Kart 64. I want it too. So much so that my mom eventually got it for me like a few weeks later. Like, I was a little shit. But yeah, I played the snot out of this. Just got unlocked all the mirror tracks and stuff like that, and got the different opening screen that you got, where you got Donkey Kong racing on that desert track with the sun setting in the background. Just unlocked everything. Well, I mean, that's kind of the only stuff you can unlock, but I just had a ton of fun. I used to just love like loading up the Princess Peach Royal Raceway, and going to the Mario 64 castle and just driving around. Like, that's just what I did. I thought it was a grand old time. And yeah, check out my top 10 Mario Kart games that I did a few months ago now. It's a fun little list. Mario Kart 64 is on it. Where was it at? I don't remember. But that's number 4, Mario Kart 64. So we're done with the N64 games for 1997. The rest are all PlayStation games. Like I said, I got my PlayStation that Christmas of that year, and it blew my little mind. Like I said, I got Crash Bandicoot 2 that year. I also got this game. It's number 3. It's Mega Man X4. I needed this game because I was a huge Mega Man fan on the NES era. Didn't have a Super Nintendo. I had a Sega Genesis, so I couldn't play any Mega Man games on there. I know the Wily Wars technically came out over here on the Sega channel and stuff, but I didn't have the Sega channel. And I wanted to play new Mega Man games. I wanted to play the Mega Man X games, but I couldn't. I didn't have a Super Nintendo. Ended up getting Mega Man X on the PC. Couldn't get in work for like 2 or 3 years. Got a different PC. Played Mega Man X on the PC. Loved it to death. So when I got my PlayStation, I was like, well, I kind of need Mega Man X4. And when you know it, it is one of the best ones by a long shot. Just great bosses, amazing music, a great look to it. It's got little anime cutscenes, and they're shortened to the point. There's a story, but kind of who cares? Just, let me get out there and run around and shoot things. It's the first one where you can fully pick Zero to play as, and he has a completely different moveset, and he gets different items for when you beat different bosses and stuff. Just a grand old time. Just like the Mario Kart games, I recently did my top 10 Mega Man games, which include the Mega Man X series. This game's on that list. Where's it at? I don't remember, but it is number 3 on the top 10 games, 1997, for a damn good reason. The top 2. Top 2, depending on the day you ask me, might be interswapped. Both of them kind of changed kind of my taste in games, like to a large degree, like very large. The effects are still being filled today when I just buy random games off Amazon, and I'm like, man, that's a genre that I like. Anyway, so what's number 2? Don't come after me. Number 2 is Final Fantasy VII. A lot of people might say this number 1. It's not on my list. We'll get to number 1 later. But Final Fantasy VII is still an amazing time, especially in 1997. Does it hold up as well these days? Maybe not. I know Sailor Nuggy played through it recently, and she had a good time. But it is... I mean, the graphics are what they are, and the translation is what it is. And but at the time, I was completely blown away. I had never played a turn-based RPG outside of like sampling some on the Super Nintendo. Like, just kind of, I think I had seen Super Mario RPG messed around with like the year before. But I was completely fooled. I was fooled by the marketing of this game. If you watch the commercials of this for this game back in the day, it's all the cutscenes from the game. It's Cloud jumping on the train. It's they probably even show freaking a big spoiler. There's just a ton of the cutscenes and probably a ton of the summon animations. Like, here's Leviathan and a big wave and stuff like that. Not a lot of like the running around on pre-rendered backgrounds and like the active time bars filling up and stuff like that. So when I first put this in, I was like, what is this? What did I get myself into? And over time, I got into it. But here's the story for this game, because I have a story about every game, I guess. When I got my N64, the N64 had a slot on in the controller for a memory card. So I was like, well, I need a memory card. So I got a memory card. And like 3 games on the N64 library used the memory card. Most of them saved on the cartridge. So when I saw there's going to be a PlayStation memory card, I was like, well, it's going to be the same thing. I don't need that. Turns out you do. You do need that. Otherwise, like stuff like Mega Man, stuff like Crash Bandicoot, stuff like this, I was starting over and over again, like from the beginning, like it's an NES game. Couldn't save it all. So what I did do, it was a couple months later, I was able to scrounge up like $14 and bought a little blue Nyko NYKO memory card. And it worked fabulously. For every single game except for this one. For whatever reason, whenever I would save a game in Final Fantasy VII, it would corrupt the entire memory card. I'd have to delete everything and restart. So I just didn't play Final Fantasy VII that much for the first couple of months until the summertime came. I was like, okay, I'm going to get up early in the morning, turn on Final Fantasy VII, and play it till I beat it. Not knowing that you needed to save to actually beat the game, because when you transfer discs over from disc 1 to disc 2, you have to have a save file for disc 2 to load. But I made it at least as far as getting out of Midgard and getting into Calm. And when you get to Calm in this game, Cloud goes through a big, his backstory, how he got to where he was at. And in the middle of that long story, this backstory, there's a point where he says, man, this is really long. And the game's like, do you want to save? And yes. And I would save every time it would ask me. I was like, screw these other saves. If they get corrupted or whatever. For whatever reason, that save was the only one that survived on that memory card. And my theory is that at that point, it's the only save point in the game that is not attached to a save point in the that you're running around the world, like those little question mark looking things, the crystal question mark looking things that are save points in Final Fantasy VII. It's the only one you don't have to go and activate to save. It's the game asking you to want to save, and just out of nowhere. So that was weird, but I didn't even come close to beating the first disc. I probably played it for like 20 hours that day and gave up. It wasn't until, I don't know, later on that year, maybe the next year, that I was able to get a memory card for real and play through it, and it blew my little mind. I was like, this is crazy. Like, this is cinema. This is wild. What is this? I was maybe a Final Fantasy fan for life. I still love this game. I know it's like, people go back and forth on it, and I've heard all sorts of stuff. It's like, it's terrible. It's the greatest thing ever made. I'm somewhere in the middle. I really like it. I really like it. I'm not going to tell you you should play this because this is a great time. But I like it because it was just, I was there at the right time, and it just, like I said, it blew my little mind. Number 2, Final Fantasy VII. Okay, so if Final Fantasy VII, one of the biggest releases of the year, if not the biggest release of the year, is number 1, or number 2, then what is number 1? Well, number 1 is Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Now, I still buy Metroidvanias I've never heard of to this day because of this game. It was the first Metroidvania game I ever played, and I loved it to death the minute I started playing it. It just, the Dracula's Castle music that starts up when you first start playing it, Alucard, just is still ingrained in my brain. I had the soundtrack on vinyl. It's just, I love this game. And if, like, when I'm making these lists and stuff like this, at some point I've asked myself in my head, it's like, if someone held a gun to my head, it's like, you have to play this game right now. Which one are you going to pick? It's going to be Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I played this game a billion times. No matter, I think the only console that I own it on that I haven't beat it on is PS4 because there was like lag and stuff. I know this game so well. I was like, man, something's not right here. But anyway, this is my original copy that I got. It wasn't in 1997. I actually got it in 98. And I just remember seeing, kind of glowing reviews for it and magazines and stuff. I just remember it just blew me away. I was like, I've never played a game like this. Like, I played Metroid on NES, but I didn't actually play Metroid. Like, I ran around for a little bit. I'm saying, this is weird, and turned it off. And I didn't play Super Metroid. I have since then. I love it. But this, like I said, this is my first Metroidvania experience, and it is my favorite one, like, kind of by far. Any Metroidvania that kind of evokes the look of Castlevania Symphony of the Night, what is that? Let's check that out. The one story I do have about this game is that occasionally I would take my consoles from my bedroom and hook them up into the big TV in the living room. And I hooked it up, and I was playing through the Royal Chapel. And my dad was just sitting there in his chair reading the newspaper or whatever. And I got to the part of the Royal Chapel. If you have played the game, you know what it is. It's like this big room. It's just like, most of the art in the game is all sprite-based, flat 2D. But in the Royal Chapel, in this one area where the cathedral's at, it's like a big 3D space, and the perspective changes and stuff as you move around the room. And I thought that was amazing. And I remember it was like, Dad, look at this, and he's like, what? I don't care. Like, why would he care about seeing this, very low polygonal stained glass window move around a little bit? But I thought it was amazing. But yeah, that's Castlevania Symphony of the Night number 1. If you have a problem with it, don't at me. Like, I love this game. Okay, so that's been my top 10 games of 1997. If you want to leave your top 10 games, top 5 games, top 3 games, top 1 games of 1997, please do so in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say. I'd love to hear some stuff that I've never heard of that I can check out in the retro stores that we like to go to every so often. Anyway, please like and subscribe. All of that fun stuff. I've been Andy from the Pixel Pub. Peace out.